Hi there, Heidi and Aaron here with another question of the week. This time, Aaron, we want to hear some of your ideas on how to find money that may be leaking from your business.
Well, this is a good topic because I am, I think, the regional expert on accidentally leaking money or having expenses I didn't need. And I learned that from my CFO, who is also my wife. And I love her, and she has a good way of always telling me this. But before we get into it, a quick story, okay? Is that okay, Heidi?
That's okay.
Okay, good. So in between now and then, I was supposed to be in Monterey, California, doing a presentation, not on this, obviously, but on something else. I was supposed to be in Fruita, Colorado, doing a presentation, not on this, something else. But because I'm kind of out of practice, I created a PowerPoint. Is that okay? I'm going to share my screen because I have to keep at least practicing presenting, or else I could get a little bit rusty. So today's presentation, am I sharing my screen? Can you see it?
I can see it.
Okay, it's on Stop the Leak. And making money by saving money through the fine art of advocacy. And this is all, it didn't start in COVID-19. We started this company in the Great Recession. So we learned real quickly, oh boy, it changed everything like in week one. So a lot of it is from that, but it's been refreshed for our recent pandemic. And our hope in sharing this is maybe there's things here business owners can do to just help their bottom line. That's what it is. And before we begin, you'll hear me say it a couple times. Anytime you have to tackle some of these topics with another person, another business, smiling, being kind, saying thank you is the secret sauce, not being cranky. Heidi, not being cranky. Be nice. Yeah, like that smile.
I'll do my best.
So everyone's talking about and has been talking about the CARES Act PPP. That's a payroll protection program. I'm not going to explain it all because you can get a lot of it online. But the thing is, if you're under 500 employees, if you're a small business, you should look into it. I'm not saying do it, just look into it. So 1% loan, it's being saying it's forgivable. It hopefully will be, but right now you should look at it as a 1% loan. If you get approved, it's 2.5 times the amount you would need for 8 weeks to cover payroll, rent, utilities, and health insurance. Again, 2.5 times of your cost. And all said, if you pay it to the insurance, to the payroll, the utilities, to rent, it's to be forgiven. They say it will be forgiven, but it's also such a fast moving target. I have to say time will tell. And with all things, I would say talk to your local banker. That's your best case in. If you already have a relationship, you got to talk to them right now. You got to get the forms. You got to work with your accountant because you're going to need tax forms. But once you have those relationships, if you already have them, you can do this pretty quickly. You really can. It's not as complicated as buying a house. Let me just say that. And then that extra 0.5% you get that you really didn't need for that 8 weeks, personal opinion, recommendation would put it in a savings account so you don't spend it. So if you get to the end of the 8 weeks, you owe that back, you can pay that back if you don't want to have it turn into an actual loan. That's just a recommendation. Do what you feel is best. And then another good tip is track every payment coming out of those dollars. Create a spreadsheet, work with your accountant so that you can say this check, this number went to this thing. It was for rent, or it was for payroll, it was for medical insurance. So there's a paper trail to everything. So when it comes to the end of 8 weeks, you can sit down with your banker, put it on the table, and it will be, I can't promise it'll be simple, but it'll be as easy as it can be with whatever the process is at that time. So that's the CARES Act PPP. That's the quickest synopsis ever given of the CARES Act PPP, I think. Anyways, let's move along. Credit card, notice it's not plural. It's singular on purpose. And recommendation, if you have one, if you have a high interest rate, it's a good time to call a credit card company and say, hey, do you think we could reduce that? Maybe from whatever it is to whatever they're willing to give you. You could also ask, it says, well, here's the payment that's due. If I pay it at all, well, could we do it over 2 months for that amount? They may or may not let you do that. It's worth asking right now. And if you have an annual fee, you could ask to have a reduced annual fee. They probably won't get rid of the fee altogether, but maybe you can go down in the card that you have and get a much reduced annual fee. If you don't have an annual fee, you're in a good spot to start with. And again, this is 100% personal recommendation, and it's only because of Beth, my wife, my business partner, who is way better at money than I am, and this is what I've learned through her, but if you can pay off that entire balance on the credit card, do it as soon as possible. Cancel that credit card if you want to, or if you want to keep it, freeze it. And what I mean by freeze it isn't just like don't use it. It's like take all your online payments that were going to it, put it on your local bank debit card, and then take that credit card, that little piece of plastic, grab a Tupperware, fill it with water, put the credit card in there, put a cap on it, and throw it in the freezer. So if there comes a time where you say, I need to buy this, you have to think about it a little bit harder because it's stuck in a block. And then as you unfreeze it, you can think about if you really want to do it. And the impulse buy, it's minimized. You can still speed it up though, Heidi, by putting it under hot water.
You would know.
I wasn't supposed to share that.
That's a great idea. I love that tip.
You got to know though, when you transition from the credit card to the debit card through your bank, there seems to be purpose-built challenges that come with the debit card. And one of them is you can't make just large purchases on it. It might be $1,200, it might be $2,400. There's a limit there, and it's due to security, I'm told. But if you want to make a purchase like that, you still can. You just have to call your local lender and say, okay, I'm going to make this purchase of this amount through this person or this company. Can you please approve it when it comes through? It's one extra step. But again, it allows you to just use your money, which I think is important anytime, no matter what era of business you're in, to use your own money. And then speaking of banks, overdraft fees happens all the time because you got a lot of money coming in, you got a lot of money coming out, and just keeping track of it all is hard. And overdraft fees make sense because the bank has to do work, and that's why they charge them. But you can get things set up like ready reserve accounts or lines of credit. But those are loans basically. So if you have to use it to cover checks, you're taking money that isn't yours to pay it, and then you have to pay that money off plus interest on top of that money. So if you're fortunate enough to have a savings account with money in it, you can set up for no fee, at least through the local lender I work with, no fee, a sweep account coming from the savings account, has that money, and it'll put it right into the checking account when needed. If a check comes through and there isn't enough money in there, it'll sweep it right out of the savings, cover that check. So you did the same thing, except you don't owe the money back and you don't owe interest on the money because you used your own money. Sweep. It's a nice word, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I like sweeps. I already talked about that. Rent, mortgage, for studio, for business. I mean, the bank, the landlord, if you already see that, not sure how we're going to make that payment, the best thing you can do is just be honest with people and call them and have an honest discussion, because more than likely they're in a similar spot. And all we can encourage is talk, understand that whoever you're talking with also has bills to pay. It's not like those we pay don't have any expense, right? They also have, but maybe there's a win-win that you can do there. I don't know what that win-win would be. It's different for everybody, but it's worth asking versus just putting it off and not making the payment and then waiting for them to call. That's what you don't want to do. Proactive, right, Heidi? Proactive. I like that word. Business insurance, and it's not maybe your like office insurance or your building insurance, but it's like an errors and omissions or professional liability insurance. If you have that and you have enough money to hire an attorney, your attorney to just look at it, I would strongly suggest that, because those policies are about this thick and reading them all as a layman isn't real easy. So to have an attorney who's paid to understand that, look at it, they might find something that you thought you're covered for if there was a professional liability issue. And they say, you got to get this fixed. And to pay an attorney to look at that versus finding out the hard way is really a good tip right now, because you don't want to find out anything the hard way. So I would definitely look at business insurance and having an attorney look at your business insurance. And then I also recommend at the same time making payments monthly or quarterly. It's hard right now to just take a whole year's worth of income or a whole year's worth of whatever the premium is, pay it. And now you're paid out for 12 years in advance, but you still need money. You know, you need money in May, you need money in June, you still have to pay other things. So I would say don't part with everything you have to get a very small discount. If it's a really big discount, well, then make that decision. But if it's minimal, don't put yourself at risk. And then with your personal home and auto, just talk to your relationship you already have. There's no need to change people. Don't do that. Stay with the people and say, what? I've been with you for maybe 10 weeks or 10 years. What can we do? What's the options? What do we have at the table? And talk it through. There might be nothing. There might be something. If there is something, it'll probably make you smile, but ask. And then internet and phone. Internet, I think, is probably the biggest thing we need, at least in our shelter-in-place world, because we can still do, we're blessed to be able to do work at home, right, Heidi? You're at home.
Yep.
I'm at home. But if we had dial-up, we would be in sincere problem right now because we wouldn't be talking via video. But if you have a long-term relationship, again, with an internet company or a phone company, it's worth a phone call. Local internet companies have been able to get through them with a phone call with no wait. It's beautiful. And just talk to them. Is there anything we can do? I just same amount of cost, improve service or not? There might be nothing. There might be nothing. And even the big box ones, you have to maybe be on hold for an hour. That's what I've seen, on hold for an hour. But I can do other work while I'm on hold. It's not like I just sit there and wait and don't do anything. I have it on speakerphone and I just wait. But after an hour, I just kind of give the situation and been really, people have blessed us in that and given us a really nice thing just for asking. So it's something to think about. I already talked about that. You might have to spend some time, but if you can save some money by spending time, it's well worth it. And remote work, also look at not only your download speed is, but what your upload speed is. Because if you're putting stuff back to a server or back to the cloud and you're working with a bigger file, if your upload speed is like 500K, your employee who's uploading on 500K is all of a sudden going to look like they're not working very hard at home. Like when you went home, I think you're just eating bonbons now because, my goodness, you get like 3 things done a day. You used to get 15, and it's not their fault. It's the upload speed. So definitely look into that. And then the non-essential, and I don't like that word at all, but it helps you understand. Reoccurring expenses, the best way is to look at a credit card statement and look at all the things on there and go, wow, what is this even for? And I know, Heidi, we found that in our business where we had software like we used here and there, and we had like a spreadsheet program that could do the same thing, and we made a decision and saved $60 a month just like that. And it was cloud-based. It didn't hurt a local business. It was a needed thing. And you got to look at what is nice and what is needed, And it's nice to have nice. You like nice still, Heidi? It's fun to have nice.
I do. I really like nice.
Yeah, but right now it's need. I hope not forever, but it's like, okay, what is nice? What is needed? And how we still have fun through all this. This is magic. And then don't forget, Heidi, a smile, thank you, goes a lot farther than being what?
Cranky.
Cranky. Do not be Mr. Cranky Butt. Cloud software, not every company probably has it, but companies like ours do. That's what we run off of. I was just watching the cloud-based software companies we have long-term relationships with, and they kept on Facebook saying, new customer special, and the new customer special was nearly half what we have paid as a long-term customer. And I was like, of any time in my life, this would be the time I'd love to be a new customer. So I called them, and guess what? I had to wait an hour. And then I finally got through and said, well, could I be a new customer? And they said, no, you're an existing customer. I said, well, I'd really like to be the new customer. Well, you can't. You're existing. I go, but do you understand what I'm saying? And do you understand it's COVID-19 and pandemic and there's issues? And we had a human discussion, and they were able to do it. They were able to do it. And it was a very large savings, a monthly savings, well worth that hour of that wonderful on-hold music. It was really fun to listen to. So keep an eye on that and advocate for yourself. That if you get anything, you got to be your own advocate right now. And it doesn't mean be a jerk. It just means advocate for yourself. It means stand up in a loving way for what would help. And in closing, be a lean, mean, highly efficient, and effective customer service machine. And what I mean by that is right now it's like daily, and we've said this in our other blog posts, so I'm tying it all back to home for you, Heidi. Daily, don't forget, it's equally important to strengthen the customer confidence in your own product. remember, it's April something right now. The way people shop, the way people buy, the way people spend is not the same as they did in March or February. How are you as a business owner, you as a whatever, you as a brand, strengthening that customer confidence in your product every day by telling that story every day? And what are you doing? What's going on? How's it working? How are you increasing confidence in your product? And the best way to say it is, how are you ensuring your safety, your own safety, your staff safety? And when you do that, it's going to ensure my safety as your customer. Because if I don't feel the safety, I don't feel the confidence, and then I don't want to invest. And that's what we can't allow to happen. We have to stop that from happening. We have to provide a way. So in closing, your product is actually no longer your product, your customer services, and how you deliver your customer service. And at the end of the day, that's why we say strategic growth through intelligent design. Did I answer your question, Heidi?
You most definitely did. I think there were a lot of good tips in there for business owners and just personal finance tips for people like me who like to spend money but probably shouldn't right now.
You know what, I'm really good at it, spending money. Like fellowship trained money spender. And it doesn't mean don't spend money right now. You have to, you should. If none of us spend money, it doesn't matter if COVID went away, we'd all go down. So it's not a matter of not spending. We have to, we should support us. But there could be things out there, as you said in your question, where's that leak? If there's a way to reduce the leak that helps you be stronger, then it can keep your people employed, keep your families moving forward, and all of that. So I have no further comments, Heidi. I am significantly tired.
Well, thank you for all the wonderful insight.
Yeah, we'll see you again sometime, I hope. Yeah, feel free to call anytime. I'm here. Obviously, I never move. Talk to you later. Bye.